emerging technology. Now, let me take your 2 3 minutes here, in terms of why is that emerging technologies are so important for CIOs today. If we look into the kind of challenges we are witnessing today, especially after the COVID-19 and global picture, if we see the kind of digitization it is happening today, what I can very well say that the CIOs are playing a kind of a core role, center stage role in terms of how do you leverage this data in terms of generating new opportunities, new businesses at large. And also when we are using emerging technology, for an example, whether it is analytics, whether it is Web 3.0, whether it is artificial intelligence, in all sense, if we see the kind of challenges, one side, you have to migrate your edges into the new business, new opportunities. And other side, when you look into the data and potential of AI, analytics, or as I say, Web 3.0 or IoT kind of a technology, CIO has to be playing a very kind of a strategic role in terms of defining, in terms of strategizing, saying that what do I want or where is my CEO wants in terms of growth of the company, in terms of, let's say, in public service where we are dealing, how do we increase the customer experience at large, how do we become proactive in terms of dealing with the kind of demand we are witnessing, the kind of performance we need to deliver to the users wherever they are. And I specifically say that today's scenario has completely changed. It is no more about data all the way traveling to a compute, which is housed, let's say, in a data center, uh, wherever it is. But it is other way now. It is the compute is traveling all the way wherever is the consumer is, wherever is the user is, wherever is the citizens is. The other big change or other big kind of a difference what we are realizing today is the kind of democratization process we need to follow in terms of providing, let's say, equal access to all. Let me cite a small example here. When we are transforming the entire kind of a passport journey within the ministry, our biggest challenge was dealing with the kind of demography and geography across the country. Now, when I say demography, the kind of literacy level we have, the kind of different kind of education level we have, the kind of the masses we need to deal wherever they are, whether I and you are accessing from, let's say, Delhi, Mumbai, or Chennai, or someone, let's say, accessing from a remote village of UP, Jharkhand, or Bihar. How do I make it, the passport services kind of a ubiquitous, kind of a smooth and for each and every one of them? And that was the biggest challenge. And when we are dealing with such challenges, as I said, I think technology was the biggest savior for us, and technology was the way which we could deal. Every one of or masses at large today. I can assure you that when they access the passport services, uh, they don't find a difference. As I said, someone is accessing from urban areas or from a remote village of any part of the country. So that was the biggest challenge. How do you deal with your citizens, customers, users, wherever they are, whichever devices they are accessing? And it's like the environment has become 24 by 7, anytime, anywhere, any device kind of a scenario. So that is one of the challenges. I think we are the CIOs, we are continue to deal with that, and we have to continue to kind of a think, strategize, act, no, as we progress on the journey. The second part, no, again, it is very important to see when I said that, no, if you see the journey, especially after the COVID scenario, uh, more or less we are realizing that the corporate data center, corporate network, corporate applications, most of them has become boundaryless. Now, when I say boundaryless, no, as I said, any user, any citizen, anywhere they are, wherever they are, and mostly they are today mobile, right? And another growing phenomena which we are observing across the globe is the mobility, the workforce mobility, workplace mobility, and wherever they are, they are trying to access the workload, which is put in a, let's say, on-premises data center or cloud kind of an environment. And that is where I think the need of the day is most of our workload. Now we are thinking, how do we migrate this workload into a cloud kind of an environment where it's not only in terms of dealing with the demand, it becomes easy, but also the kind of unforeseen scenario like COVID or any such sort of a scalability or any such sort of a demand I am witnessing. I think cloud journey will continue to grow, and especially in the government. No, we have to see that when we're dealing with this journey onwards, our kind of a the cloud journey becomes, in a sense, that a smooth. How do we deal with our sovereign data? How do we deal with our non-sovereign data? And that's why I think government, we at large, we are taking a hybrid approach when we are attempting to cloud, so that initially at least the non-sovereign workload is migrated into the cloud, and over the time when one is kind of a convinced enough, one is assured enough, saying that how do I do my cloud migration, how do I deal with my workload, how do I deal with my workforce at large. And that is where I think we as a CIO community has to make a difference when we are migrating such workload into the cloud, saying that, how do you strategize your cloud journey in terms of people, in terms of execution model, in terms of rules of engagement, very important, the compliances, the regulations, the land of the laws. How do you deal with that when you are migrating your workload into the cloud? And at the end, I think in the cloud journey also you have to ensure that the tools and technologies being deployed to protect your data, to preview your data, to access and authorize the kind of applications or users over the cloud, how much visibility and how much observability you have. These are the two very important things I think the CIOs as a community has to ensure to the business at large, organization at large, users at large, and no kind of a the opportunity at large. The another concept which I think very important to mention here, that we as a CIO community, uh, the digital culture which we are now witnessing, the digital ethics which you have to create across the organization, the digital realignment we have to create across the organizations, and that kind of talent pool which no one is needing. It is not only across one vertical but across multiple verticals or multiple business units. How do you create that talent pool? How do you absorb that talent pool? And then accordingly, how do you maintain your capacity and also your kind of a training and change requirements, so that, as I said, one side you have to deal with your kind of as is scenario, but at the same time, we have to ensure that whether I'm dealing with a public services, or I'm dealing with a product, or I'm dealing with any kind of a portfolio or solutions, I always remain competitive across the market at large. How do I remain competitive? How do I remain ahead of my competitions? No, these are the other biggest challenges which CIOs and CTOs and all the technology professionals are witnessing today. Uh, Then the another very important area I must say when we are talking about CIO communities at large, or the technology professionals at large, or let me say that digital and technology at large. I think today data is playing a very big role in terms of anything and everything, whether I and you we are thinking proactively, I and you we are thinking about new business opportunities, new areas of investment, new areas of learnings, anything to say. Data is playing a very big role. And the important area to be looked after is how do you convert data into your product? How do you convert data into your portfolio of solutions? How do you convert data into enhancing and improving customer experience or citizen experience? And I think that is what we are doing. Let me quote another example here. When we were going completely online, across the country for passport services, I think one of the major challenge was how do we deal with the kind of masses which do not have access and access to computer and internet at their vicinity at home or at home. And that is the time I think data and digital came for our rescue and our savior, saying that how do I reach to such kind of masses or such kind of a communities or societies who do not have access to computer and internet at home. And I think that is the time I could leverage another government network, which is called CSC network, Common Service Center, which is across the country here and there. It is established today, and it is almost around 5 lakh common service center. And we immediately integrated with all the common service center across the country, and we could make such kind of a digital presence wherever user is, wherever citizen is. And that is the time I could analyze, I could predict, I could saying that know my customer base or citizen kind of a requirement or citizen demand based on data. It's all about data. How do you analyze data? How do I make actionable insights in any form, in terms of service delivery or in terms of improving customer experience, the kind of suggestions and feedback which I was getting, whether in terms of making the services available closer to users or any kind of a problem they are facing in terms of delivery of passport services. So the point here is for all of us, for the CIOs, do you really have a data strategy in place? Do you really have a data governance structure in place? Do you really understand your ecosystem, which I said digital ecosystem at large, including your organization, your primary stakeholders, and the customer base? If you understand data around them and know the kind of the data you are generating, the kind of the data you are collecting from citizens, and how do you deal with the data, both in terms of security and also in terms of the privacy. Both, when I say privacy, I mean when you are collecting someone personal identifiable information, or let's say you are collecting and then doing a secondary use of the data, how is that your data strategy is working? How is that your data governance model is working? And as I said, when you are dealing with such data, uh, are you complying with the law? Are you complying with the regulations of the land? And do you really have a rules of engagement in place? The last part, I think, on my keynote, I'd also like to touch upon saying that uh, if I see the government at large and the industry at large, I think it is the high time today we all realize that how do we collaborate together? how do we take industry along? How do we create a business model which is win-win, which is sustainable, which is all time to come in terms of assuring the service levels, in terms of assuring the service quality, and in terms of assuring the finance, very important. Today as we are witnessing a kind of a global kind of a economic climate change, in such scenario, how do you create a business model which is collaborative, as I said, which is kind of a innovative in terms of every stakeholder, whether to the organization itself, to the customer base, to the stakeholders. So that part is very important. How do you take industry along, create a business model which is innovative in terms of technology, in terms of process, in terms of customer experience. And believe me, I think this is one of the biggest area every one of us as a CIO, we need to dwell down, we need to think and think louder, right? So that is another area no, you must see when it comes to dealing with any sort of business, whether I am in government or someone in any kind of a private organization. The second area is when we are uh, dealing with kind of a such business model, such collaboration. We are working towards such collaboration. Uh, how do we ensure that the kind of the security, the kind of cyber challenges today we are facing, uh, and therefore, I think we as a CIO community, we need to also ensure that one side where your business or your let's say services or product or portfolio, how is that you are looking into security and privacy concerns holistic. When I say holistic, I mean in your thinking approach, in your strategic approach, have you considered security intrinsic? That means when I say intrinsic, it is every and each part of your business decision process. It is every and each part of your strategizing in terms of technology. It is every and each part of your process reengineering and process improvement, and it is also intrinsic each layer of your digital ecosystem. When I say each layer, right from your data layer to OS layer to host layer to perimeter and network security layer, and to right up to the access and authorization layer. If you can devise such mechanism, no, I think uh, going forward you'll realize that, and probably that is what I am doing. Your risks has reduced in terms of cyber risks, in terms of other risks across the businesses when it comes to data and information, because you'll always know that even if, let's say, there is some sort of a incidents has happened, you really understand how much impact to your business is, how much impact it has given to your customer at large, your user base at large, your business at large, and you'll always have a backup in place. You'll always have a BCP in place, so that the damage being done is contained and it is minimal. To end my keynote, I must say that when you look into digital, when you look into this kind of a large transformation, when you're looking into new opportunities, I think CIOs is no more it's sitting at the back room, or they are at the kind of a behind the scene, but they are at the center stage of your business. Today, technology, digital, um, data at large, they are the core at your business. They are the business driver. They are the kind of a in terms of deciding, in terms of looking into new business opportunities, new areas of concerns, anything and everything to do with since digital data and technology, they are playing as a center stage role. CIOs more and more, they are becoming part of the boardroom decisions. They are becoming part of the, as I said, core of the decision making process. And therefore, we as a CIO community, we have to ensure that when it comes to users, when comes to customer experience, when it comes to uh, the finance and the kind of a overall growth of the organizations, uh, in all sense, CIOs will be playing a very big key role in the entire process. And going forward, we'll more and more witness that. I think the scenario will evolve as a collaborative scenario in terms of CIOs at one side, business at other side, industry and kind of a uh, government and another side. And on top of that, every one of us has to work collaboratively, every one of us cohesively, to ensure that the business, the customer experience, the citizen experience is the prime concerns for all of us. So thank you once again, CIO Axis and the entire team for having me here. So thank you.
Thank you, Golok, for sharing your views on CIO priorities in today's digital era.